Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. TNC's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining.
I'm doing really good, man, and I'm super excited about the match. I mean, right now we got Thunderbirds really trying to prove themselves as an independent team and organization, and they are just killing it, man. I mean, obviously the match versus Liquid wasn't completely decisive. They had to go to the third game on it, but like they just don't seem to be making mistakes today. They seem to be really on point, and of course you and I got to see a lot of TNC through the SEA qualifier for the Kiev Major, and they obviously have a lot of potential for team play and just a really great gameplay overall. So I think it's going to be a great matchup, and obviously both teams are hungry for some wins today.
League's assassin. TNC's turn to pick.
Kiev Major!
Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining.
Yeah, and it's interesting because actually TNC won the coin flip, but they opted to go for second pick in particular. So normally when you have a team that really wants second pick, they want to pair a couple of heroes together. And right now you're seeing Nyx and Ogre, which is two heroes that can really bully their way into the lane. They've got a lot of raw HP regen between the two of them. So I think it's really a heavy focus on the laning phase here. They're going to look to kind of build some momentum, maybe pick up some high tempo core for the mid, and just kind of go from there. As far as the other selections here, Treant Protector and Clockwork should be very active and involved in their own right, but in a very different sense. I'm actually curious about the mid lane the most, as far as what pickups we're going to be seeing from Weehaw and Cuckoo. Obviously, what's been thrown around a lot very recently, the Shadow Fiend being banned out. Maybe the Lina could be something that either could pick up. Historically, Weehaw actually played more of this quick respawn, like Bloodstone type Lina, more than anybody else. He was actually one of the people that, even when the hero wasn't popular, was still picking it up in some niche scenarios. But Cuckoo has adapted well to the meta shift, and he's been picking up Lina a lot with 4-0 so far. So I feel like it's going to be a pretty heavily contested pick, and I feel like, in general, a heavy damage dealing momentum-based core is what they're looking for.
Reserve time.
Mm-hmm.
TNC's turn to pick.
I think you go for the mid at this point in time. I mean, obviously you want to reserve the carry a little bit further, but we also have a pretty wide pool. They are going to end up leaving it ambiguous, putting the third support, or the second support, along with their off lane here, and that means that it's going to be very difficult for Thunderbirds to know how to counteract this. In fact, they've got a lot of reactive tools. The Nyx Assassin has a pretty good line stun, but more importantly, the Venge swap to pull somebody out of trouble if they're caught in the cogs. So, I'm not sure if we'll see an early enough Force Staff to counteract the Clockwork's
5
initiation
seconds
entirely.
remaining.
But in general, I think TNC have a good draft to kind of deal with it and see
Reserve
where they want to
time.
go with the remaining 2 picks. But in the meantime, Thunderbirds have to kind of figure it out for themselves. You got Moon obviously on the clock, probably like Misery on the Treant Protector. I mean, Soxa and Misery both have a playstyle that works well with the hero, so they can kind of shuffle it around based on player preference with whatever secondary support they are running. But it's going to be a Rubik here, so that kind of straightens things
TNC's
out.
turn
And
to
in general,
pick.
again, it just makes it that much more important that the core pickups are something that each member is comfortable with and that is able to make a high impact.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Life Stealer.
Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Terror Blade.
TNC's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Razor.
TNC's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Lena.
Offering is the the mobile initiation that you generally want with a lifestealer. Like the usage of Infest is pretty much going to be exclusively on Sam H's Nyx Assassin. Like you really aren't going to be seeing any Infest plays with the Vengeful Spirit of Lina, or just don't want to be in a position for that.
Won again, upper bracket. Both of these teams have won a best of 3 against other people. Do we do the predictions? Yeah, we'll do it. Total number of smoke gank kills. We'll say 2. Player with the least deaths. Probably Resolution. I think I had him chosen as the player with the least deaths overall in the tournament. I feel like his play style is always defined just by low risk and then his team defending him constantly.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely can work out. The question is really how he's going to itemize, how quickly he's going to get the items he needs to survive, and how carefully they're going to play against Alina. Because the difference in this Terrorblade game, compared to a lot of others, is he doesn't really have a lot of great tools to keep him alive. I mean, obviously, Treant Protector's got a couple of heals, or at least the damage block, to help him out here, but they don't have like a Dazzle to sit behind him and just grave him when he drops low. He's going to have to really rely on very intelligent Sunder usage, very careful farming positions, and so on, if they're going to be able to keep him as safe as they want to.
Yeah. And Misery just going to head out here as well in the early stages, places this ward. Kind of an interesting location on the high ground, unlikely to be dewarded, so they'll maintain that vision early on. Likewise, have a ward placed down from Raven to secure his farm and make sure there aren't any rotations. But by and large, it seems unlikely that there's going to be much action coming out from the side of Thunderbirds until you get those level 6s online, with Clockwork and Moon making those types of plays a little bit later on. I don't know. In your eyes, do you feel like either team is sort of more comfortable in the early stages of this game as far as the lanes work out? Do you expect to see any like rotations to try and dodge lanes?
I think that there's not going to be too much in terms of rotations of the core heroes. I think that they're going to have to just kind of stick with whatever they're given here. Obviously, Alina is going to be shut down a little bit by just the fact that the Razor is a really good laning hero, but end of the day, I think it's going to be mostly the supports that you're going to be seeing moving to and fro. I'm actually curious most particularly where Misery goes. Sometimes you see the Nature's Guise opener for the Treant Protector. Often you'll just see that level 1 Leech Seed with that Orb of Venom. But in either case, he's obviously going to be looking to make an impact. Whether he thinks he can make an impact against the Nyx Assassin, or if he's actually just going to be trying on the other lanes, is the question.
And with that go, we are going to be underway yet again. We also have this ward that was placed down over in a good little bit of vision of Weehaw. All right, come on, guys. I believe in you. I'm sure it'll all be worked out shortly. But yeah, that's the other thing is like, being able to make sure that if you're Cuckoo hitting out those Dragon Slaves while simultaneously, getting CS and applying harassment onto Weehaw is what you're looking for, is the most effective way to deal with it. And in that fashion, do you think that it might be a little bit easier of a lane for him since you don't have to rely as much upon your right clicks for CSing, or is it still going to be really tough?
I mean, it comes down to mana usage, maybe how greedy you are about your shrines. Like if you're okay with giving the mid just a shrine just to mana back up, then I think it works out okay. But yeah, otherwise you're gonna have to be getting a gank or something along the lines where you have the Ogre and the Venge making some smoke rotations pretty early on. So I mean, I think that they want to probably try to pressure the Razor early. The bigger Razor gets early on, the tankier he gets, the more he gets to dive, and the harder he is to bring down in general. And this is amplified by the fact that they've got living armor on their side, even if it's just like 1 point. So I do think that in general they're going to want to try to make some good rotations on the Razor when Weehaw is pushed up as he tries to go for an extended static link.
Oh. And it's a difference in terms of the heroes that I think most people would have expected out of Weehaw. You traditionally think of him on those Meepos. You think of him on like the Invoker and all of these high macro, or rather micro-oriented heroes. And we saw a similar situation when he played Bristleback earlier. And you were mentioning that you felt like it was a hero that had the potential to get taken. Do you think that this is good for them, that they have this versatility in playstyle, or do you think that maybe... I guess that they won their matches, so it's okay, but... Yeah,
of course. But yeah, I feel like although Razor in general is a pretty linear hero in terms of playstyle, it's still something that you can like build around and strategize around really well. I feel like a lot of what Thunderbirds bring to the table is a really good shot calling captain that allows them to make some very active decisions on the map and say, okay, well, it's actually going to be the Ogre that gets linked first, so that'll give some some free CS, but Cuckoo will kind of get the same. But yeah, I just feel like in general, I feel like this is just a good piece to put on the board to allow Thunderbirds to act as a unit. He's just a really good anchor for the team. If he can get his farm, that is. He's getting harassed really heavily right now.
Yeah, there's so much harassment that's being leveled out, and I mean, this is, I don't know if that's necessarily one of the downsides of linking the Ogre early, but maybe just not having somebody in there to help out against the Ogre who's applying all that pressure. The plus side is that you do get relative free farm now for resolution in this bottom lane, so always trade-offs to be had. But do you think that this is something that we're going to continue to see, is Ogre just sitting here messing with Weeha and making his day terrible?
Yeah, I mean, that's if you can accomplish it efficiently, then yeah, it's one of the better things that you can do as an Ogre to start things off. I mean, if they get him low enough, they might even go for a tower dive, but for right now, they just know that really he can barely afford healing cells right now, so they are feeling very comfortable with this laning situation, and it makes things harder and harder as the game goes along, because honestly, Razor's just a very item-dependent hero in the early parts of the game. If you are just have boots and you're walking around, maybe a Wraithband or an Aquila, like, you have nothing, essentially. You have to build up one, like, even if it's a cheap item, just 2,000 gold or something, one good item to make you tanky enough to get on the front line of the fights, or you're really not able to do much at all.
Well, all that's been going on mid. Moon Meander forced to pop his initial shrine at this early stage of the game as well. There's some nice harassment leveled out by Rior as well as Raven in this top lane. Another terrifying matchup, although as long as Clockwork has Cogs, there's probably unlikely to find a kill. So you can always just try and go for a Cogs pushback onto the Lifestealer. But now with Ogre heading down towards the bottom, they want to try and get aggressive onto Soxka here. They're able to find the Impale. The Bash, though, to try and break this up. Tim still with the haste rune. Might be able to draw first blood here, and Soxka being helped out by his teammates. It looks like they will be able to force away that Ogre.
Yeah, with the Fairy probably could have committed for the first blood, but, you know, it comes with a little bit of risk here and there, and they just didn't want to have to deal with that. So it is going to be just Soxka walking away, and still first blood left on the table.
It's really not bad, though, because you're still in a situation with the Rubik where you're not super happy being this low HP, and hard to zone out Sam H now.
Yeah, and of course the Razor had to pop the Shrine. Weeha, it's still down really low on HP, but he did burn the Shrine, and that means that that's not going to be an option for Soxka, who's going to be sitting at this really low HP level for quite some time.
10 going up now to try and heal again. Weeha comes back towards the mid lane, and you know, this hero that's traditionally known for being a very strong laning force is 5-2 now versus the 15-6. Ogre's still showing why it's an incredibly potent hero in these early engagements. Next couple of minutes as they work out, do you think that this starts to feel a little bit better for Weeha, or is Lina at enough of a lead that she's comfortable?
It's going to be pretty difficult for him. Overall, like, he's going to be at this low enough health pool that Laguna Blade will keep him in kill range with just a minimal amount of harassment, and I think Cuckoo is just kind of running over this thing right now. Obviously, he's gotten a couple of good links off, but in general, just Weeha is not comfortable at this low HP level.
All right. And top still leading the CS. We do have Raven continuing to go. It's seen a lot of Midases in these games over the past couple of rounds. Is that what we expect to see out of the Lifestealer, continuing to go that way, or do you think that they need to hit a timing here before the Terrorblade starts to come online where they can make things happen earlier?
Yeah, I think that you could actually go for something a lot more aggressive here. You could go for like a phase armlet Dezo type action where you're just really focused on early physical damage output and getting those ganks off. Obviously, you want to kind of synchronize that with like the Nyx's S and Blink Dagger, which seems to be delayed quite a bit at this point. So maybe he could go to the Midas if he thinks that Sam H is going to take too long in getting an initiation tool that allows them to fight. But if he's comfortable with Sam H's position and his overall progress in the game, then he can probably just prioritize damage over anything else and try to really bring the hurt to the Terrorblade before he becomes a big threat with something like an Eye of Scotty.
And now you look at this, the support's not showing in lane. TNC are going for a smoke gank. They were thinking about mid, but Weeha no longer showing. They decide to back out. Now wrapping around towards this bottom where Resolution has popped Metamorphosis. Lina is also starting to make his movement down towards this bottom side as well. And Rior, they break the smoke now. Resolution gonna get stunned. They have the follow-up one as well if they want to try and go for it. Do have the treant. A huge stun comes out onto 3. Oh my god, Cuckoo comes in, almost able to find the kill on Soxgun. He's gonna be there. Misery to drop as well. Great combo with the help from Sam H's stun.
That was such an insane stun. I mean, they kind of obviously walked right into it. They lined themselves up for it, but just kind of this desperate position where they, like you said, they play around Rezo, want to try to make sure that he doesn't die, keep him alive at all costs, but it costs them 3, as we may see a full, essentially, rotation from TNC. Only the Lifestealer remains up top, happily farming away, and he is going to be going for that Midas. So finding himself a lot of early progress here, and finding himself comfortable in the mid game as well as the early.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so impressive when you get that type of a lead at the very beginning of it. Now you're going to try and accentuate that even further. Honestly, if Sam H wants to go for his too, like, he's only 900 gold away from it on this offlane Nyx Assassin. I don't know. I feel like maybe you start to build up a little bit more of a lead, and they're starting to bring in the supports again to maybe go for another kill into Resolution here.
Before Sunder is a great time to do it. I mean, right now the Treant Protector's not offering that much again in survivability. They're going to go for some good damage in, but Sam H is going to take the brunt of it and get stunned back. So no kill happening here, but at least continuous pressure here. As you see, just a huge disparity in the carries last hits. 50 here for a very comfortable Lifestealer up top, Raven doing good, and a 39 CS for the Terrorblade. So comparing that, of course, with the fact that Lifestealer also gets to go for Hannah Midas, I think the Team C are in the driver's seat for this early game.
Making it work across the map. And, you know, it was a great rotation, too, for the Lina because she basically didn't miss any CS there. And Cuckoo doing a very efficient job of his movement around the map, making sure to constantly get back there into lane and then farming out the jungle as well. I want to see where these supports end up going again. You're still only level 4 Nyx Assassin, so the rotation isn't going to be quite as strong, although Moon has now shown up. He wants to take a couple kills back the other direction. There's going to be the flare, the hook in. Tim's in trouble, is going to end up dropping. Although that is just the Ogre. Sam H gets away from that gank.
Very surprising TP down bottom is the Lina here. Thunderbirds aren't aware of this as far as I can tell, but they are hiding. They're waiting for a push-up. They think, okay, he's going to pop, he's got his Metamorphosis for that hook, so he's going to want to push the tower. And when he does so, they're going to look for a Laguna kill.
This is such a good play right now. Again, Sam H shows in lane for a moment. There are 4 heroes here. Currently Resolution. Are they going to be able to slow him down enough? Doesn't look like it. They had just a bit of vision of that Ogre and thought the better of it. So a little bit of a missed rotation by TNC there.
They might still find Moon Meander, though. He's really far out there. He's not going to get stunned by the Light Strike Array, though, which was the key to trying to keep him in the river. So he's just going to be able to move his way out. I really don't think this is going to work, but maybe he might just be brought low enough. No, the Magic Stick combined with the Fairy Fire, and Cuckoo is still on the hunt.
Cuckoo's crazy. Cuckoo's out of his mind, but you got to love it.
I mean, you got Phase Boots, Fiery Soul, and Bloodlust. This guy feels like he's got a haste rune, and as such feels like a god, but he does have to kind of tone it down a little bit, as there is a lot of potential counterplay now that the hook shot's off cooldown.
Well, and speaking of which, Moon getting into position, finds the hook there onto Cuckoo, is light striking Array, trying to run away, and you mentioned those Phase Boots, the added movement speed might be enough to allow Cuckoo to escape. Gonna try for a couple of jukes here. Although that being said, well, it might actually just end up working. They're TPing over to the shrine. Cuckoo heads to the south, and, well, they find him, but there's no stun. All that movement speed, Cuckoo gets out.
And now, and in the meantime, we're going to be seeing Tim's pick up a kill on the Rubik down bottom, while Raven pressures the tower up top very cleanly. They are just getting everything they want out of this. They're going to be able to escape with their precious mid hero. They're putting a lot of great damage on top, and they're still keep getting kills.
It is going to take a concerted effort to bring down these towers, obviously. With Treant Protector in the game, it'll just keep on getting healed back up by Misery. But still do need to be careful. Is Raven getting a little bit aggressive here? Do they realize that the tree is in the area as well? The bash is coming out, but no level 6 as of yet for the tree means that should be able to make his escape. Meanwhile, in the jungle, Weeha In trouble, Laguna Blade not quite going to go down. Well, raindrops keeping him alive for the moment, and there's going to be the kill. They also have Sam H still in Vendetta form here. If they're not careful and if they bring in... Okay, yeah, Sam H was looking for the Terrorblade but couldn't find him.
Yeah, it's just... It feels like whenever you're getting 2 or 3 heroes to protect one core, then suddenly the other is extremely vulnerable. And we saw there just full control of the Radiant jungle with that Nyx moving about and just really good smoke activities from TNC. It's really, and the fact is they have really short cooldowns as well. Like the Vendetta is only a 70-second cooldown, the Laguna Blade only at 70 as well, so they can continue to put this pressure out and continue to dominate the map. And this is without the towers being broken.
Right. Now, another movement here through the jungle, it looks like. Moon Meander still invis. This is feeling like it could be another really big engagement. The only thing is that they do not have the Razor Thunderbirds with them through the rest of this push. So might be lacking a little bit of damage, although Cuckoo has a TP now as well. They're in position. There's the catch on to Sam H in a little bit of trouble. Misery is here as well. They do not have level 6. He's really close to it though, and maybe he's going to be able to pick it up with the kill on Sam H. That is going to be done. Now Misery has his ulti if they want to try and pop it now. The hook shot is going to be a little bit off the mark there for Rio. Raven shows up. They end up going for the overgrowth, cancel it. And for now, Thunderbirds will back out. Content with the 1 kill that they have. Cuckoo picked up, we had rather kicked up the kill into Cuckoo, and now Raven in trouble. He's gonna drop also. So mid lane, TNC getting far too aggressive and end up losing all of their cores.
Yeah, it's extremely unfortunate how that panned out. I mean, once you see the Metamorphosis, you really need to just cut your losses as much as possible. They should have bailed on that, at least not losing the Lifestealer. Unfortunately, obviously, the Lina getting caught out like that is something that you can't really deal with when you don't have your Euls yet, but the Lifestealer should definitely not be dropping at this stage in the game. He's far too important. He's been the top of net worth for a long time. Having the option of like Rage TP and other factors, it just feels like he should always be able to get out of just about anything. But finally, the Treant Protector's level 6, and it just feels like Thunderbirds have finally started playing together and actually making something proactive happen on the map.
And maybe also, you know, further a little bit of an odd move because you have like the Midases that have been picked up. You have yours done on Sam H, I believe, or I thought it was on the Courier. Maybe it's not quite done as of yet. He ended up going for the Arcane Boots first instead, and still a little ways away from it. But you do have it on the Lifestealer, so maybe in a little while, once those items start to come up after the fact, the armlet done, that's when things become a little bit easier for TNC to take those fights.
For sure, yeah. It was just not a really good spot to engage, and they didn't have to. They forced a fight when they could have at worst lost the next assassin, and that didn't even necessarily seem to be the case. So it just does seem like they're in a position where they just don't want to back down from a fight. They did have a lot of momentum behind them, but a lot of that has turned on its head as Thunderbirds start kind of getting an opportunity to play together. Metamorphosis is back up. Top lane, this tier 1 should be dropping.
And you have Rio in the area, but unlikely to be a great fight. Again, there's also overgrowth that's available. They're bringing in Sam H now. No vision quite yet. They're still going forward. The Impale just barely off the mark.
Very close call. But still, Moon making his rotation here, looking for his opening. It looks like Cuckoo is where he's going to turn his attention to. Weehaw dropping pretty low, but the raindrops and tread, lots of effective HP, and the hook shots on the mark.
Moon, nice play there. They push back Tim's as well. That's almost the death of Cuckoo. Still so much low HP here. Can they bring them down? They're also bringing in Sam H. Initiation comes out. There's the Spike Carapace as well, trying to find that kill. They have still so much with the living armor to keep them alive, and almost able to bring down Cuckoo there. Saksa with the nice play. Rio, no mana to get the stun, and the Rubik gets out.
Cuckoo really playing with fire there. I guess the rocket flare just a little bit off the mark. They're pinging for the next rocket flare, but I don't think it's going to be enough damage now. I think he's just a little bit too much HP. Drops down to 38, but will survive. And there was an interaction there that I haven't really seen, but the massive attack speed boost that this Lina has from both Bloodlust and Fiery Soul allowed her to break out of cogs so quickly. The attacks required to kill a power cog at this level is only 2, so Cuckoo's just like pop pop and he walks away, where under normal circumstances he should be absolutely dead.
Right. A nice little way to deal with the clockwork, that hasn't been seen all that much, regardless of the fact that you now have another way to deal with it. So But a little bit frustrating there. Raven now does have his armlet, so this again might be another nice timing for him. But likewise, Weehaw picking up the drums. An item that we haven't seen a ton of on carries recently. Do you like the pickup in this game? Does it tell you anything about the way that T-Birds want to try and play it?
I mean, if the aura is hitting 5 heroes, then it's quite effective. But on its own, the item is just only effective in the fact that it's pretty cheap. We actually see Luna getting caught out here. A lot of spells being committed to bring her down. Finally going to happen. And that's going to be a nice bounty going the other way, of course. That being said, yeah, the Razor, I mean, this item is mostly intelligence-based right now. It's 6 strength, 6 intelligence. I saw it a lot on Batrider still, and I liked it there. But in this context, I really only feel like it's going to be functional, A, as a very cheap item, because Weehaw is so far behind net worth overall, and B, as an item that could work well if the team is 5-manning.
All right, well, we'll see if they do decide to go for that 5-man lineup. It feels like it's something that's definitely possible with the Terrorblade there, but 6-6, the score right now. Tower's starting to be taken down across the map, and it looks like Sam H is getting set up for another movement. Although that being said, the lifesteal inside of him, it's still 20 seconds before Vendetta's up. Might be getting ready for the long con to go try and kill Resolution.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I guess the other thing to keep in mind with this is Rezo is gone for the Dragonlance build on top of a Ring of Aquila and Treads already, so he's more tanky than you would normally expect out of a Terrorblade at this point. We've seen sometimes Terrorblade switching it up and just going like straight for the Manta style or things like that, but a lot of tankability on this hero early. Is Cuckoo potentially going to get caught out again? Moomiander a little bit off the mark there with that hook shot.
And still, they're really not moving towards Force Staffs whatsoever. There's a Yules on the Lina, which can help in a tight spot, but they really don't have great tools to move around the cogs, so it makes Moomiander's job very important here, getting some good cogs down in the middle of fight, getting him good position with this Blade Mail, and just really making mess of things. But right now, it's going to be the initiation on Weehaw, most likely, if they can just get in range for one of Riora's spells.
They're dodging away from the tower. This is a tough way to go up on the high ground, but they have got him, and nice swap back down low. Going to be able to catch on to Weehaw, and that is going to be a kill into a tower most likely, although Rior getting a good bit of damage from those Ancients. Needs to get back home.
Yeah, 3 points on the unstable current as well, so just a couple of zaps to him. Rocket Flare actually would have been enough to bring him down, but isn't going to be on the mark at the right time. Up top, though, Resolution will pop his Metamorphosis, force out a Glyph. Well, the one that resets anyways, and then, of course, take the tier 1 up top. So it is going to be a 1-for-1 in terms of towers, and the kill score is pretty even as well.
Moon dealing a good bit of damage there. And the thing that's tough about this is that if you don't take the tower right now for TNC, you know that Tree is going to keep healing it back up. So this does make it a lot harder for them to take concerted objectives around the map. Rior shows up, taking a lot of damage and just is dead to Resolution. What is going on?
Wow.
All right. That was really odd. Miscommunication amongst TNC players is the most likely explanation there. And now, oh man, Raven almost going down there as well. Moomiander could have found the hook shot in.
Yeah, they were just trying to get a rocket flare kill during the armlet toggle, but in the end aren't able to find it. We're actually going to be seeing Sam H moving in invisible, and no sentry wards currently in place. So TC definitely want to contest this tower and try to get something out of this, but in terms of initiation, they still lack the Blink Dagger on the Nyx and any real follow-up behind that.
Yeah, everybody just going to back out slightly now, making sure not to get caught. And I've been really impressed with Thunderbirds' discipline here, because a lot of other teams might have gotten caught on the way out of there, and TNC looking for those kills, but everybody's sticking together and then, you know, getting out at the same time together, making sure that they don't give up anything that they have to. And now they've built up a lead with around 3,000 net worth and around 2,000 experience.
Yeah, and they've got great heroes to protect that lead. Yeah, you were talking about it before, but this living armor has been a real nuisance against TNC. And I think a big part of that is the armor changes for the towers that have been taking place over the past few patches. The fact that you get so much armor on a tower when like 3 or 4 heroes are trying to siege it allows this living armor to really make an impact and really allow you to keep everything alive for a long, long time. So with that in mind, they have yet to take a single tier 1 tower, and it is actually all 3 in favor of Thunderbirds for the tier 1s.
That was kind of interesting too. We just saw the Clockwork Flare go over the top of the shrine, and it's like all 5 heroes grouped together, TPing into the shrine. I wonder what you guys are doing. So
Sure.
wasn't a smoke play that ended up coming out from it, but it does look like Sam H will be able to find that initiation on a Soxkin nonetheless. He goes down, bottom as well. They're looking for a fight. Cuckoo is gonna drop. So a couple of trades, but I think you're more than happy to give up your Rubik and pick off the Lina.
Oh, definitely. This is just not a position that Lina wants to be in. She doesn't have a respawn time talent yet, so every death feels very costly. And yeah, it seemed like they weren't prepared for Thunderbirds to have such an active response. But I feel like historically, that's one of the team's strengths as Digital Chaos or as Thunderbirds. They have been able to react to situations by bringing often more heroes than necessary to just make sure that they can win the fight. And as it turns out, this is just TNC losing momentum time and time again. And I mean, these Viduses will help for sure. It'll kind of cushion the disadvantage they're experiencing right now, but they've got to get it together for the next few fights.
Oh no, and this is not the way that you want this to go. Moon Meander moving in, looking at Raven, has eyes on him, can go for the kill. Sam H is here as well, but can they stop it? They just kill up the courier. The rarely seen right clicks from Clockwork finding that one, and now Tim's stuck up on the high ground. This is going terribly for TNC. They're gonna end up losing the tower off the bat of this. Thankfully the Lifestealer gets out, but man, oh man, T-Birds have all the answers.
Yeah, for sure. And they're going to keep on pushing as long as Metamorphosis is still involved here. That Dragon Lance, these illusions, it's going to be very potent, and it's going to be TNC that have to draw the line.
You have this early Sanj picked up by the Razor as well, so almost 2,000 HP on him. Probably will get there when he has the Power Tread switched over to Strength, but it's just not a great way for TNC to deal with this right now. What's the play for them now? Do you only have to go for pickoffs with Sam H pretty much?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like what you're looking for is the ability to abuse this Nyx Assassin's power to move on the map. Everybody else should be scouted by some basic observer wards, but there's still a lot. You can't have sentries everywhere. And so until a gem is picked up, I feel like Sam H has to kind of just stay active, stay on the map, and try to keep finding ganks. But at least for right now, it's going to be Resolution playing it back. Keep on farming. He's going to look for that Scotty soon. That's going to be kind of a breaking point. Once you have an Eye of Scotty, along with like Dragonlance Manta style, like this hero is just a little bit too tanky for all of this burst damage, and he's going to get a good Sunder off.
Well, they're trying to find something here, but and Resolution is just going to walk away from that one. It's so hard to actually take him down unless you have all 5 heroes there, and obviously if you got all 5 heroes in one spot, likely to be scouted out or Thunderbirds realizing something's happening. In the meantime, you've got Tree who keeps the vision up. Reconnaissance missions into the dire jungle. Ships in the night pass each other here now.
They definitely know that Moon Meander's here from that rocket flare positioning, but they don't know who else is the question. And the TNC are a little bit worried about trying to make an engagement like that, but they finally make the call. They've got the full flank, and it looks like Moon is in some serious trouble.
Yeah, Raven looking, oh, all right, a little 4-step away, and not to mention had the hook shot there as well to catch onto his tree if he needed to. I mean, with Misery in the area too, could they go for a defensive this if you wanted to, Thunderbirds?
No, I can't believe that they're actually looking for this. The hookshot will miss, the TP will cancel. That is the right decision. Do not defend that tower.
It would have been a beautiful dream, but would have likely ended in a nightmare.
No, that would have been suicidal, dude. That would have been 3 heroes down and the tower as well. Like, okay, so look at it this way. Tree Protector, he treats the towers like his children. He's a good father. He's got 3 kids, tier 1s out there, blooming and just trying to make their living in the world. And he tries to just pat them on the back, keep giving them living armor, keep them going. And then just there's these people out there out for blood, trying to kill them. It's like you really want to keep them alive. You really care, but don't care that much that you'll give your life away and your friends' lives away. It's a losing battle. It's really just not worth it in the end. You care, but you sometimes care too much.
Okay, I'm with you, and that leads to. This is going into dark places. I'm not gonna lie. We can't explore this analogy any further without going to terrifying depths. But yeah, it's still been an interesting situation though, because like Misery's been able to hold up the other 2 now, and that the tier 2 is still standing. It's led to a pretty substantial net worth lead into the favor of T-Birds. 7,500 gold, around 4,000 experience. what's the avenue now for TNC to take fights? Like, I'm looking at the way it works. Is it all dependent upon T-Birds basically overextending?
I mean, I think they just need a good target to jump on first and foremost. I mean, Rior can definitely set that up. Probably needs his second point in his ultimate to make it easy. But I do definitely think they just need to kind of find a good focus target. A lot of times it's been Saksa, but of course he's been kind of low priority in terms of just overall value as a kill. And then usually they lose 1 or 2 heroes in exchange for it, which is just not what they're looking for. So right now, I mean, Raven at least got the Maelstrom off of the Fallen Courier, now looking for the Mjolnir to complete a really good set of damage dealing items. But yeah, I just think that they need to kind of find a good target to isolate. The Clockwork is ready and willing to be on the front line. Treant Protector, if he's on the front, is probably going to get the Overgrowth out, and you don't want either of those things to happen. So it just, between the Overgrowth, between the cogs, it's really hard to maneuver here. But if you can isolate any of the other 3 targets, any of the ranged heroes, then you're going to be able to start the fight on really good terms.
Oh, this is looking quite good right now for TNC. If they can get into the right initiation angle, the Impale connects onto 3, almost able to bring down Misery, but he's able to walk away, and now the Overgrowth is going to come. Raven gets sundered, gets brought down. Great combo of play. Moon Meander, he's found Rior as well. It was looking like maybe there was a chance where they get a good Impale and then Infest Bomb out, but maybe just a little bit of mixed signals on who they want to go on there.
Exactly. It's just one of those things where you can get a really good stun out here, but he tried to burst down Misery before the Overgrowth came through because he knew that if that tree lives, then Nyx suddenly is useless, even during Rage, because he gets the disarm against him and he's just not able to do anything. So in that case, it's just they can't really isolate a target, and they can't take a fight full on 5-on-5 with all spells on board. So they lose the fight, they lose the Aegis, and this is going to be critical mass. I mean, this is going to be a Terrorblade that just can't die. He even dodges out the Magic Missile with the Manta, and he's got an Aegis to back himself up.
Oh, poor Tim's just going to get dismantled here. You have another great Ravage from Sam H, trying to put the team on his back right now, but Resolution, they're going to be able to get the swap out. Cuckoo actually is going to live through this one. Moon Meander still going to chase for the moment. Light Strike Array connects. Sam H again showing up, trying to control that Tim's, but it does look like Raven, almost able to escape, is going to end up going down. Resolution doing too much damage. They were able to kill off Moon Meander on the low ground. So anything you can get at this stage is sort of a good win for TNC.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, right now, anything helps, but at the end of the day, I still really feel like this is a point in the game that they don't want to be in. The fact is, this Terrorblade is going to be the dominant force in this game for the rest of the game. And they're actually going to see Nyx Assassin picked off, Vendetta stolen. He does what he can, but it's just not enough. Cuckoo walking in, trying to make something of it. He might get a kill, but will it be returned the other way as the Sunder comes through?
Oh, he's super quick, though. He's going to be able to walk out of there. Tim's fits the stun. Rior might be able to turn again with the Magic Missile if he wants to go for it. Cuckoo just going to back out. They do not want to overextend in this situation. Yeah, Soxica spotted him the whole way inside that tree line, and they just found the kill with a little bit of help from his buddies. And I think at the end of the day, like, losing Sam H certainly sucks, but if you're trading kills and sort of slowing down the pressure of Thunderbirds, still feels okay to me. But it's still a hard game.
Yeah, it is. And I got to go back to the point we made about the Hands of Midas. Like, it obviously allows you to have a really solid mid game, but when you make mistakes like this and things start snowballing out of hands anyway, you start to regret it. You start to realize, oh, we don't have options in terms of isolating, killing targets because we didn't get that Blink Dagger early enough, or we didn't get this one item on the Lifestealer fast enough. I just feel like there was a really good window where this Lina has level 2 ultimate, the Nyx Assassin, and the Lifestealer could have been just in full-on gank mode and starting to prevent Resolution from getting anything. And instead, they kind of tiptoed into a couple of fights that didn't belong. They didn't have the items they needed to make the good fights happen. And in the end, it just put Thunderbirds back in the driver's seat.
Oh, heavy lifting needing to come up right now for TNC, and a lot of people capable of doing it. The Light Strike Array as well as the Dragon Slave killing off these illusions, so they are starting to deal with it. But again, how do you take care of the big bad Terrorblade himself? There are a few ways to make it work without burning through absolutely everything, and afterwards he's got his Aegis also. Moon, in the meantime, does have that hook shot ready to get the counter initiation if they need it. There's the swap in. All right, nice start to this fight. Sam H, he's going to jump onto the backlines. Connects onto Sakta, almost able to come up with the overgrowth. Going to be able to control him. Raven in trouble. Sam H also soon to fall down. They're both going to get out of there. Resolution might possibly. No, there's no way. Cuckoo drops as well.
Big.
Moon Meander. They're taking him down. That's another kill. 4 of them down. 3 buybacks. And you know what? I don't think Thunderbirds give a damn.
I mean, they haven't even broken the Aegis. They've forced all full buyback, everybody, all hands on deck, trying to turn this back around, but the Terrorblade is too tanky. Once he got that Scotty, it was just too much. This lineup has a very finite amount of damage they can put out, and they have expended everything to get to this point, and it's not going to be enough.
All right, well, you kill Moon. Congratulations. Soxka's dead as well. But so too is your entire team with all of those buybacks and Cuckoo as well. Just needing to retreat at this point. And it's everything. All of these factors working together. The tree heals, the overgrowth to keep the Lifestealer from dealing damage. They have found the answer to TNC. At least in this game.
It came down to a few key jungle fights. The fact is that TNC lost a couple of heroes they couldn't afford to, lost Alina a few too many times. I mean, she was doing so well in the laning phase, but now you see that she's got 4 deaths behind her, and those deaths add up very quickly in terms of building back momentum for the Radiant side. Instead, they get tower after tower with the Terrorblade, and he gets to a point that they just cannot do anything about.
Well, we've seen TNC come back multiple times in a lot of these games, but it's tough when you just have the heroes that answer, like what TNC have really well. Lifestealer does not deal well with Terrorblade, and likewise doesn't deal well with Trio Protector. A lot of these heroes just are the answers for him. If there was a dream fight for TNC, what does it look like? Is it picking off the tree at the very beginning, or trying to burst through the Terrorblade?
Yeah, I mean, ideally they'd look to isolate a target with swap and just get a free kill really quickly. But in general, I feel like Thunderbirds have enough reactive tools between the Clockwork and the Treant Protector to deal with that now. They can get in with Mech, Living Armor Overgrowth, the Cogs of 4-staff play. Like, they can make a response happen, and I just feel like isolation is no longer going to work. In fact, it's going to be Cuckoo who gets isolated instead.
Yeah, 4 stats to the other side of the Cogs. He's brought down very low by that. Now the Overgrowth on to 2. Lights Check Ray trying to create that separation, but the BKB has already been popped. Rior almost able to live through it. The Bloodstone heal coming through, but it was never going to be enough. And GG is called. 32 minutes into this one. T-Birds making it work.
Yeah. A little shaky in the laning phase. A lot of the early rotations for TNC definitely caught them off guard, and in general, I don't think that they planned out the mid lane very well in terms of the just amount of magical harassment they were going to be getting from the Ogre and the Lina. It just didn't seem like we had a clear answer or a buddy to go to. Like, Misery wasn't going to let him cry on his shoulder. He was going to kind of do his own